Alright, so today we're going to take a look at the Treatlife 3-way smart light switch. This switch was provided to me by Treatlife for my review today. This switch works with Amazon Alexa, which we'll be setting up later, as well as If Then, Then That, and Google Assistant. As mentioned, this is a 3-way switch so that you can control lights from 2 different locations, which is handy for long hallways or stairs. Being a smart switch, you can control this remotely using their app or Alexa, which allows for hands-free operation. This is a 15 amp maximum resistive load switch with a power rating of 1800 watts, and this Treatlife switch is compatible with Android 4.1 or iOS 8.0 and above. So to start us off in this video, I'm going to be unboxing the switch, showing you what you get inside of it, and then I'm going to move over to my test rig here that I use for my video reviews. I've modified it to have 2 receptacles with an incandescent bulb here in line. And then lastly, we're going to connect to Amazon's Alexa as well as the app that it comes bundled with. So now let's get started with the unbox. Okay, it looks like some wire labels are included for easier installation. We have both switches here. Removable cover. There's included plastic coverings to protect from shipping scratches. 2 face plates also with protective coverings. Included wire nuts. And lastly in the box we have our instructions and user manual for the Treatlife SS02. In the manual, there are QR codes to download the Treatlife application to finish setup for your smart home. And then there's also these wiring diagrams, which I am going to cut over to now. Alright, so here we have a diagram of what we're going to be attempting. Our 2 switches are here. We've got our receptacles and our light. So for step 1, there should be a 14-2 wire coming into the first switch receptacle, and that's going to bring power from your mains. Joining the Treatlife switches should be a 14-3 wire bundle, which would consist of a black, white, and red wire. Running from the second switch receptacle up to the light would be another 14-2 wire pair, which would be a black and a white. And that would be your typical wiring infrastructure for a 3-way light switch setup. So once you've identified those wires, you're going to want to start connecting things. So for the first step, you're going to take the white wire coming from the breaker panel, and we're going to connect that to the white wire in the 14-3 cluster. So these 2 are going to be attached. Once you've attached those wires, you're going to connect the hot wire from the breaker panel to the common screw on your first switch. And then next you're going to splice the white wire from the 14-3 bundle to the white wire going up to the light. And then next you're going to splice the white wire from the 14-3 bundle to the white wire leading up to the light. And then after that you're going to join the switches using the red traveler wire from the 14-3 bundle from this screw terminal across and to the other switch on the opposite screw terminal. Similarly with the black wire on the 14-3 cable, you're going to connect the screw terminal here to the other switch on the opposite screw terminal. And then lastly, once you have the switches joined, you'll connect the black wire that's coming down from the light to the common screw on the second switch. So here's my testing setup. I have my 2 receptacles and my light. Over here I have power coming from the breaker, which comes in here. Now coming across, I have a 14-3 wire bundle. The 3 means you get 3 wires in your ground. So we have our black, red, and white. That travels to the other receptacle here. And lastly, we have another 14-2 that comes from the second receptacle box and travels to the light itself. So if you're in a situation where you're going to be adding a new switch or replacing an existing one, this is a good approximation of most people's setups. So on the back here, you can see that Treatlife has labeled the wire pigtails, traveler, line load, traveler, neutral, and ground. This differs a little bit from the screw setup that you saw in my diagram earlier. And I didn't account for grounding, which we're going to go over obviously when I install it in here. And also worth noting while we have it visible is that the switch is ETL certified. Instead of using the included wire nuts, I am going to try these Wago wire connectors that Reddit recommended. And it should save some time. These use a lever to clamp down on the wires so I don't have to twist anything on. All right, so I'm going to take this black wire labeled line load from the Treatlife smart switch, and I'm going to connect that to the hot wire coming from my breaker panel. I'm going to connect that into the Wago wire nut here. And now next I'm going to join all the neutrals together. Okay, next step is to attach the ground, which is the bare copper wire. And the ground is the green coming from the switch. So on the first switch then, that leaves us with these 2 red traveler wires, which have the corresponding travelers on the 14-3 wire bundle, which are these red and black wires, which come over to this box here. So next I'm going to be taking this red from the switch and connecting it to the black on the 14.3 bundle that travels to the other receptacle. So now I'm going to take this remaining red wire marked Traveler on the smart switch and connect that to this remaining red wire in the 14.3 wire cluster. So now I should be able to tuck things in a little bit here to organize my life, just a tad. And I'll fix it up once I'm sure I know what I'm doing. Now on this right switch, let's start off by connecting all the grounds. And then we can connect all the neutrals. Now the black wire traveling down from the light, we're going to connect that to the load on the second switch. So now those two are joined, which leaves us with our two Traveler wires. So now I'll join the red Traveler wire on the left on the smart switch to the black Traveler wire coming over from the other receptacle. And then lastly, I'm going to take this red Traveler wire from the switch and connect that to the red Traveler wire from the other receptacle. Now theoretically everything should be connected together properly, so I'm going to carefully fold the wires up into the receptacles and reconnect power. And again, you should always consult with a licensed electrician for your own scenario. This is just a test setup here that I'm doing. And it might not reflect the wiring in your actual house. Be sure always to test your wires per the instructions. So now I'll be reconnecting power and testing the switches. Well, that's a good sign. Things started right up. Now if I did everything correctly, when I touch this switch, the light should go off. And when I touch this switch, the light should go on. And vice versa. That's pretty awesome. Now that both of these Treatlife 3-way smart switches are working, time to actually make them smart by setting them up in the Treatlife app. Alright, so in the Apple App Store, we'll search for SmartLife and download that, open that up on your device. You can allow it to send you notifications. I've already set up an account, or you can go ahead and register there. Now that we've made it through the registration process, we can add a device. I'm going to go under Lighting and select Wi-Fi. To enter pairing mode on the smart switch, push and hold on the power button until the red indicator light starts to flash rapidly. And then push on the button labeled Confirm Indicator Rapidly Blink. And then once you've entered your Wi-Fi network information, you should get a prompt that the device was added successfully. We'll go ahead and rename it here and call this Stairway Light. And push on Done. You can upgrade our firmware. And so now testing the connectivity with the app here, you can see we have a giant power button here in the SmartLife app. If we push on that, we have near real-time performance. But now we have the switch successfully connected to our network. And then in the next part of this video review, I'm going to try to connect this Treatlife 3-way switch to Alexa. So the first thing we'll do here is open up the Alexa app, go under Skills and Games, and search for the SmartLife skill. I've already downloaded it, so it's already enabled on my phone, but you just go ahead and follow the prompts to set that up on your device. If I go under Devices, it's already discovered my smart switch that I've added earlier. I named that Stairway Light. And just like in the Treatlife app, we have an on and off indication. Pushing on it should test that the integration is working successfully. And off screen and over my shoulder here, you might be hearing that clicking because the light is actually turning on and off. Now let's switch over to the other camera and test out Alexa voice commands. All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and finalize the installation here. For a nice clean look, we'll add our face plates. Because I'm not a monster, I'm gonna peel off the cover in one take. All right, now to test it out with Alexa. Alexa, turn on the stairway light.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off the stairway light.
Okay.
Simple as that. So I hope you enjoyed my review of the Treatlife 3-way smart light switch. As you can see, the setup is not too difficult. The wiring is a little bit more involved than your standard single pole light switch, but I hope my review made that a little bit more clear. If you have any questions about my video, or if you found it helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment down below or click on the like button. Thanks a bunch, and thanks for watching.